Hey, what's up, Bashar?
What's up? How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
Hey, great. Hey, fine. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, my name is Jordan Medeiros. I am part of the Locked In Golden State Warrior podcast. My co-host tonight is not available, but I am with a guest host, Bashar. If you know him from 49er Minded, please go follow him. Um, Bashar, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be on here. Happy. Thank you for inviting me. I know lately we've been collabing. Brandon and I collabed with you and Brandon on the recent shows. Yeah, good game one, huh? A lot
Yeah,
better than
pretty
people
much.
thought it would be. So,
Yeah, really good. Again, thank you for being here. This is new to me, so bear with me, everybody. Maybe Bashar, you can help me along. But
oh yeah,
um,
without a doubt, I definitely will.
so going into it real quick, like you mentioned, no one expected this probably right out of the gate. What do you think overall of the entirety of the game?
Um, Overall, with the game, I'll be honest, watching it, I was not stressed out. I wasn't sitting there thinking, "Oh wow, these guys got Luka Doncic, who's this badass, who just demoralized the Phoenix Suns." Sure, going into the game, I was kind of thinking about that, about the series in general. I had my doubts, but once the game started going, I was like, it looks like the Warriors got control of this, even when they had just a measly 10-point lead early on. Not once during the game that I felt like Dallas was his team that we were overmatched or anything like that. And at certain points in the game, I was like, well, we look like the more athletic, more just energetic team out there. I know it helps that we're in Chase Center, but I just felt really good about the game in general when I was watching it, and the result at the end. It almost didn't surprise me because we looked so good. But obviously, I didn't expect this big of a deficit. But it was just awesome to see the Warriors playing at this high level. And a lot of times I saw the Warriors play at this high level early on in the season, but I didn't necessarily see it much towards the end of the season or during the playoffs. So it's great to see it. Love what I saw from most of the players, and I'll get into it in more detail. We'll bring up certain players, and yeah, man, I just liked what I saw out there in general. Obviously, who wouldn't?
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, when I started watching it, and when they started, actually, what I enjoyed most is that they didn't shoot many threes. I mean, they did, but they were really more into 2 point shots to this game. So I always say attack, 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 because if your 3 point shot doesn't go in, it kind of helps the other team drive and score, get fouls. So that was good. Other than that, what do you think of Andrew Wiggins tonight?
Wiggins, I didn't necessarily sit there and focus on him like crazy, like I should have, but in spurts when I did, though, I was like, "Whoa, this guy's making some nice defensive plays on Luka Doncic." Now, Luka, I thought Luka was going to have his way against guys like Wiggins or against us in general, assuming Draymond wasn't guarding him, just for the fact that he's this bigger guy that can back people down, and it's almost like a slow, much lesser athletic version of LeBron James. That similar style of play, though, in general. LeBron James is this big, strong, point guard slash power forward type of player. But obviously, LeBron has way better defense and way better athleticism. But it's just that Luka's just like bullying force, and to Luka's credit, he could shoot a lot better than LeBron. But for whatever reason, man, Wiggins was looking pretty damn good against him. And if Wiggins could keep it up for the rest of the series, hats off to him, man. I'd love to see it. I've been a big Wiggins doubter at points and times during this season. I just hated at times of this season, even the playoffs, where not one person would be on Wiggins, and they throw him, throw the ball to him wide open, and he completely brick a wide open 3 pointer.
Yeah,
So
I
it's just
know.
like, I've had my frustrations with Wiggins. I've had my frustrations with Kevon Looney, but
Yeah,
these guys are just coming out and playing, man. I can't complain, man. I honestly can't. If they can keep it up like this, hey, hats off to them, man.
I hope so. Yeah, he played really well against Luca. I think the whole defense played well tonight, and that's what propelled the offense to unload on them. Um, what do you think about Steve Kerr being back? Do you think that really helped?
it was funny because I caught the game kind of late, maybe it was about around the time where we had 20 points or Dallas had 16 points early in the
That's
and
where
I
I
remember
was.
I remember at one point they had zoomed in on Mike Brown on the sidelines. I was on the phone with my friend. I was like, damn, Mike Brown's coaching the game today. I thought Steve Kerr was supposed to be out there, and I got kind of got worried a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little worried. But yeah, Steve Kerr, hey man, welcome back. Great to have him back. Good to hear that he's not, doesn't have COVID anymore, I guess. And that was like kind of a little bit of
Well,
a
he had a mask
scare.
on still, so
Yeah, yeah. They say everybody's vaccinated, but some people still kind of get it. Otto Porter Jr. came back. That was big. That
yeah,
was huge.
yeah.
Just a very underrated spark off the bench. He's not this big time famous player or anything. Even when he signed him, he was completely out of my radar. I didn't know who he was when we signed him,
Well,
but
he was always hurt.
I had people tell me, "Oh wow, the Warriors got Otto Porter Jr." They were excited. I'm like, "Who?" I'm, I love basketball, but I'll be honest. I don't sit there and focus on every single team in the NBA and every single player. So I don't, not the same way I do in football, so to speak. But still, great addition to the team, man. And his presence was missed at times during that Grizzlies series. So to have him back, I was like, I felt pretty good. I was like, just another. We got a lot of small forwards, some tweeners, small forwards / power forward type guys,
Yeah,
and not like your '90s power forwards where they're all big and buff or anything like that. But
not
it's like,
anymore.
yeah, it's like especially with this guy Luca, we have to throw as many guys at him as we can. And Otto Porter is just a great piece to have. He's got long arms. He's got the old man type athleticism. You could say he's still athletic, just for an older player, and he can always hit the wide open three for the most part. And just a great guy to have, man. Just a great addition to the team, and how he's just like almost like a missing piece of the puzzle, you could say.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, his presence was definitely needed. I can't wait till GP2 comes back. I love that guy. Um, so in other words, so going back to the defense, do you think the Mavs will probably look at the tape and then adjust? Obviously, or do you think our defense will be more elite the next game and so on?
I mean, they might change things up a bit. I'm just not sure. I haven't watched the Mavericks much during this season,
Mhm.
to be honest with you. So I'm not sure what different kinds of styles they can play. The only style I've been familiar with the Mavericks is just Doncic with the, if I say his
Yeah.
name right, with the rock in his hands all the time and bullying people and sitting at the 3-point line, setting people up, and it's like everything just running through him. So I mean, unless they switch up things defensively, I'm not sure what they could change. I don't know if you have a better answer to that than I do, but
No, I think they did pretty well. I think Wiggins should just stay on Luca for the whole series. Actually, I even said that in the last series, the last podcast we were on. Um, Again, the turnovers, Curry with his crazy passes in the game. That's got to stop. But obviously, like Stan Van Gundy said, that's probably not going to stop. They're averaging what 16 turnovers a game. So
yeah, this turnover crap is just it's something that almost never go away. I didn't even look up to see what the stat line was. I
I think
looked it up earlier, but I forgot. But I'll pull it up
I
again
think they ended
actually.
with 15, but I could be
Hmm.
wrong.
Yeah, but
But
at the end of the day, it didn't even matter because we're up by so many damn points,
right, right.
anyways.
Yeah.
you
That's what I
know.
always say. I'm like, we just gotta accept it because as long as they're up by a lot or whatever, or they win the game, basically,
Mhm.
it doesn't really matter. But um, you got the stats up right now,
I
or
pulled up the box score just now, actually. Yeah, so give me a second. I'll give you some insight on what the Warriors did. And let me just this. I'm on the ESPN.com website actually.
for sure?
So yeah, you had it right. 15, obviously, with the turnover, 7 blocks, not bad. Let's see how many blocks this
Ooh,
Mavericks had. Oh,
yep.
Mavericks had 7 too. Okay, there you go. Oh no, they didn't. They had 1 block. My bad. It was 7 steals that they had. And,
Okay.
okay, we had 8 steals. They had 7 steals, so it was
And
almost even. Rebounds. We had 51 rebounds.
yeah, Curry had what?
Mavericks. Yeah, Curry had 12. Curry had 12 rebounds.
Dude,
Yeah, the Mavericks had 35 rebounds. We got for a smaller team, and we may not come across as this like people don't think of us as a defensive team. They think of us as just all offense and nothing else. But
yep, yep.
we're just like this scrappy team, and sure
Always
those
have
teams,
been.
yeah, and we shoot those crazy 3-pointers, and even if we miss, we're just so aware. and of how to scrap and get those rebounds. So we may not necessarily get those like rebounds over big men and centers in underneath the basket or whatever, but those longer perimeter type rebounds are ones that we tend to get, and that's probably what Curry was getting. But it's great to hear, man. I saw Draymond doing a lot of nice things where it's kind of like ever since I'm glad the ogre who Kendrick Perkins, the ogre was there's Corey. What's up, man?
Up, Corey.
Let's welcome
How you
Corey.
doing?
This is Corey Sports Fanatic from Twitter. I was just about to say this really quick. I think the ogre kind of woke up Draymond Green a little bit. It's nice to see Draymond get involved and just do these nice big plays. And hey, he scored 10 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 2 steals. So it's certain type of plays that Draymond does will just spark the game and get everybody excited. And those momentum type plays are definitely important. What's going on with you, Corey? What do you think about the game?
Not much to say. I think everything of what I was saying in preview shows and everything else pretty much happening with fruition. It's an absolutely god-awful matchup for Dallas. Period. I said this, and you're hearing all the analytics and everything going on. Warriors in 6, Warriors in 7, all this. No, Warriors in 5. I give Luka one game in this, playing on his head, scoring 45 or 50, and carrying it. A lot like what we were talking about in last series, which, of course, went a little awry from that. But what I said, and I don't know what I missed in the first 10, 11 minutes of this podcast, but Dallas ended up playing up on the Warriors on the perimeter. Well, the problem with that is, and playing zone. The problem with that is all the back doors all over the place, dunks, wide open dunks. It's a bad matchup for Dallas because they don't have the size to contend with us down low. Yes, their perimeter defense can work. The way that Dallas is going to be able to win a game or two is they have to shoot out lights out shooting and have Luka go off for 35 or 40 a game minimum. The defense overall is somewhere kind of in the middle of the pack. I think maybe top 10. But outside of it's pretty much all the perimeter defense. You looked at the first half, neither team shot the ball well. The problem that I saw, and the adjustment came in, is Dallas ended up having maybe not twice as many shots, but they had a lot more shots than we did in the first half. Neither of us shot well first half. Came into the third quarter, same old Warriors. You're close, you're tied. I think they were up by 9 at halftime.
Yeah,
Game was over going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So
the moment I saw Curry doing that little dance that made it 64-47, I was like, we got these guys.
Yeah, game over.
I'll say this, though. I mentioned it earlier about our wings and our forwards. I almost feel like we're the perfect team, even though Luka's, watching him play other teams scares me. I almost feel like we're the perfect team to play against Luka because we got so many guys we can throw at him. Shout out to Brandon Ferrigno, hooking us up with he's not here today, but he usually hosts a show, and he has me and Corey on. So shout out to him. Good dude. Done some 49er stuff with him too. But yeah, man. So much craziness. I'm forgetting this is what I loved about the game. You said attack the basket. I was like, thank God Jordan Poole is doing this, because I was saying this before the game, telling people before the game. If Jordan Poole could just not worry so much about launching crazy threes, but actually use his nice ball handling skills and his penetration and his nice little up and under moves that he does, those Jordan-esque type moves. He doesn't have the hops that Jordan does, but he's got some nice little finesse to him. If he could do that and draw some fouls or just get some 2-pointers, just get the offenses going, it'll definitely help us. And lo and behold, this game he did it. So great to see Jordan Poole do it. You got the Splash Brothers, you got the pool party, but when everything all comes together, it's a splash party.
Definitely. So Corey, I was talking about our defense and how great they play. They got like 7 blocks, I believe. Do you think anything different will go into pretty much the whole series, or you think the defense will be the same?
Well, I was actually hoping that Brandon was going to be on here so I could ask all 3 of you, but I'll ask both of you because you guys are on. If you're Jason Kidd leading up to game 2, what adjustments do you feel like you can make that can make his team competitive and stay in the game to the end? I'll ask you.
He asked me that question earlier, and I had no answer for it because when I watch this Mavericks team, I only see them having one style of play. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just Luka Doncic playing that LeBron bully point guard / power forward role, and that's the only style of play I see this team doing. So I don't know how else they can change it up.
And it's also kicking out to the role players who had a terrible shooting performance. The problem with Dallas and the role players is they're very, very streaky. If they're on, they will be able to stay in games long enough where it can stay competitive. The problem is, you can give Luka all you want. If I'm Jordan Poole or if I'm Stephen Curry and I have one-on-one or a way to get down into Luka, I'm going on him all day long. Drive right at him. That guy plays James Harden defense all day long. He's giving you the Olay 9 out of 10 times. He's not going to get involved in defense because he understands of how much energy it sustains. Now, he's 23 years old. He's got to develop a better defensive game to his great offensive prowess. I mean, that's his game. The problem is if and the Warriors will see this, Wiggins as well. You get a guy with ball handling skills or anything, you go right at Luka. And you notice on the defense, they're playing zone tonight. Zone will not work against this team, period. They have to go back to man, and they have to. And when you see that, you always notice that Luka's on the corners. Because they know that he's such a defensive liability. If they can get Luka, and Luka had a foul there early, and he didn't engage enough to start sustaining the fouls. I think he only had 2 fouls, possibly 3 fouls. But it's all this Olay. Oh, Olay, go ahead and go past me. You guys remember the Mighty Ducks movie back in the day? Go over. Oh, go ahead. Take the goal.
That Matador defense.
And then he complains about the fouls.
Go after Luka. Make him as uncomfortable and make him work. Even just trying to get out of the way takes a lot of effort. They held him to 20 points tonight. 20! I don't expect that happening going forward, but the role players have to play a bigger role for Dallas to at least stay in
the game.
These games. I don't see it a 25, 30-point blowout necessarily again, although it could. But I'm expecting somewhere around 8 to 12-point wins the rest of the way. And again, I probably give Dallas a game in Dallas. I like the Warriors winning on Friday, period. But that's why I was asking. If you're Jason Kidd, what adjustments can you possibly make to try to make this a more competitive series?
Good question. I honestly think the only way Warriors lose is the Warriors beat themselves. Pretty much. Yeah,
with their 20 and 25 turnovers that we saw, unfortunately, in the last series. But Memphis is a much more difficult matchup for us. They had decent perimeter defense, but they had the size. The blowout that we ended up having to sustain there in Game 5. The problem was they couldn't get down low. You had Adams and who was the other big man that they had there? It was crazy. They could not. It was all perimeter shooting. Dallas can't do that. And the one team in the East that I think can sustain that could be Boston. The problem with Boston is I don't think they have enough scoring.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
Oh, you're good. Jimmy.
I don't see this series being much. Again, I give Dallas maybe 1. Jaren Jackson Jr., thank you. I thought there was another big
Low the Truth 05. Shout out to him. Good dude. He says, gentlemen's sweep for the Warriors. So that's basically a 5-game series. I almost see it. I see it coming down to that. And I mentioned Otto Porter Jr. earlier, just for the record. His stat line, he had a modest 10 points, but I don't think he had too many minutes. 23 minutes, not bad. Plus 16 for him, awesome. And Jordan Poole, 19 points, and plus 15 for him. So 2 guys off to the bench, just giving a great spark to this team.
Those 2 played well, but it was Wiggins who kept us in that game in that first half. I mean, Wiggins, I think he was 6 of 9 or something in the first half and just went bananas. And I don't care what anyone says. I saw Wiggins on Luka all day long, and Luka couldn't do a thing. The answer was there. If you can, I don't think it's possible to be able to sustain this throughout the series, but if you can get a guy like Wiggins who can just kind of contain him one-on-one, Dallas is absolutely dead. But if you have to force a double team and you start kicking out, I mean, the role players were just off. Could have been nerves. It could have been something. They had just played a grueling 7-game series that ended, I think, 2 days ago. So give them another day, and then the travel. Get another day of rest. See what happens Friday. But if you're Jason Kidd, I don't know what you do. You have to go away from the zone and go back to man-to-man. But you start playing up at the perimeter. It's leaving the key and everything down low, down in the front court wide open. Backdoor cuts. The Warriors move the ball better than anyone. I've been saying this in these podcasts and spaces all week. The Warriors, exactly what Jordan said, the Warriors will lose a series because of them. They had, I think when the starters came out with 5 minutes left, they were at 10, 11 turnovers. I think they ended up with 15, possibly 16. That was all in garbage time. Didn't matter. That is the Warriors. If the Warriors played like this tonight, give them the Larry O'Brien trophy right now. Because it's a matchup nightmare. Dallas does not, and we can go back to the We Believe years. Dallas has gotten owned. And I can't remember if we've played them in a playoff series since. But we own them.
No.
I was at the game that year in the regular season, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but the Dallas Mavericks had a 17-game winning streak. Came out to Oracle, and they got mopped. Absolutely mollywopped all the way through. I said, yeah, and I heard the playoff atmosphere was there. This was Oracle at its finest before the playoffs had even started. It was insane, and they had no answer. Dallas had been a notorious bad matchup all the way through. The Warriors just match up so much better than they do against us. It's just a known fact. You're going to have one hell of a time in Dallas trying to figure out how to work this. They don't have the size down low. The perimeter shooters are just streaky. If they're on, as I mentioned this earlier, if they're on, they will be in games.
Yeah.
But that is a big if. And Luka has to play on his head. Luka had 20 points. I didn't think I could have seen that in a million years. It was insane. There's just no physicality there. The Warriors are just going to keep moving the ball around. And if the series keeps going like this, keep Gary Payton away until the save him for the finals.
I heard he's going to be coming back fairly soon too.
He's healing before this series is over.
Yeah, they already took his splints off his arm. So.
But
let him sit and let him rest. Get an extra week.
Really
if this series, and I think I did the math, if this series goes 5, the Warriors will still have 5 days in between that series ending. Finals doesn't start until the 2nd, and they're not going to be changing that around in any way. Mm-hmm. The finals are always set, just like the Super Bowl, just like the World Series, just like any sport. Finals are always set. June 2nd, which I believe is 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, Wednesday.
That's crazy. It's fast.
Get through this series as fast as you can and rest. Get Porter's foot back normal. Get Payton hopefully back and being able to get in. You're going to need Payton in the finals one way or another, and it's going to be big. But
you mentioned Porter because it's like I almost like why not integrate Bjelica or Kuminga or those guys a little bit more because I know Porter played well tonight, but like you said about his foot, why risk his injury,
Kuminga, I think, is still too young. I think he's still making those rookie mistakes, and I really see Bjelica being limited. I don't see him. He doesn't go put up quick. He's a spot shooter who can play some pretty good defense. I like the role that they have with Bjelica, Damian Lee, Kuminga. Moody hit a 3 there late. Leave him there for kind of garbage time, or if someone gets into foul trouble.
That was my next question.
Bjelica to me is a very limited type of player. Good defense and a spot shooter. He doesn't drive. He doesn't have the ball handling skills that a Curry or a Poole or even a Wiggins has. And I'd like to see Klay Thompson stop trying to dribble the ball like Steph Curry. He keeps dribbling balls off his foot and keeps turning the ball over.
Yeah, he did that a couple of times.
Work on the defense and just leave it at that.
I'm going to go through the stat line really quick. So Klay Thompson did have 15. They gave him plus 20. Curry had 21. Curry had an awesome game, 12 rebounds, obviously. He was a plus 23. Kevon Looney, Looney had 10 points. Okay. Yeah, Looney, remember that one time in the game where like Looney took a step from the free 3-point line and just Looney's like shooting it, and the moment Looney hit a shot like that, I was like, Warriors got this.
21 point, 21 footer. for sure.
Yeah, it's like
There was a foul call on him. That
Wiggins
wasn't a
19
foul.
points. Wiggins 19 points plus 28, 5 rebounds. He just and 1 block, but he was just looking really nice against Luka. Hats off to him again.
How many rebounds did he have? As Bashar's cam freezes.
Bashar freezes.
I was just wondering what Looney's rebounding line was.
It was probably double figures.
I can look it up, but
Oh, there
Five.
you are. Oh,
Five.
he's back. Are you back,
Rebound,
Char?
five rebound.
sort of. Nope. He'll come back. No, I don't have it in front of me. 10
Okay.
points. I would say probably 11, 12 rebounds.
It was 5 rebounds for Wiggins. I know.
Just 5?
It kicked me off, and now I'm back.
On Looney. How many rebounds did Looney have?
Looney, definitely it wasn't double figures. I'll tell you, it was pretty low actually. But in general, he played pretty well though. I liked what he was doing today. Looney, he had what did he have? He had 5 rebounds. Looney had 5 rebounds.
Wow.
Wait, just Clay had 5 rebounds. Wiggins had 5. Draymond with 9. Yeah, Draymond just looked really nice today. I liked what I saw from him. It reminded me a whole lot of the early Warriors championship runs, Draymond. You know, lately I've been seeing it where he's been doing that coast to coast type stuff, and just the fast paced type, lean the break, and that's the Draymond I want to see. You know, if we're a smaller team, we're gonna play small ball. You know, hey, push the pace up the floor. Why not?
He scored 8 points, right?
Yeah, 10. Yeah, 10.
Oh, 10. Nice.
Draymond went 10 and 9.
When Draymond gets 10, it's like somebody else getting 20.
Warriors don't lose when Draymond gets 10 points.
What's that?
I said the Warriors don't lose. I'm sorry. The Warriors don't lose when Draymond gets 10 points.
Exactly.
I love him to get 15.
It's not going to happen.
That'd be nice.
It is not going to happen.
So that was my next question. So I know they had garbage time, but do you think in this series we see more of Kuminga and Moody and Anderson and Belisa?
I'd like to see Kuminga just for the simple fact that he can attack the basket better than almost anybody on the team. But we'll see. I mean, Curry's been a bit reluctant with this whole rookies and the young guys, and I do get that, And a lot of these veterans seem to. We were talking about like the whole ball movement with the team, the structure of the offense. A lot of these veterans are a lot better with that, more so than guys like Kuminga and Moody. So I do see that part of it. But I'm just a big Kuminga fan, so I'm like eager to see him on the floor anytime I can see him. So.
I believe that you will see him, but I think you'll see him more in the finals. Just because I don't think you just right now you just don't need him. Just have him learn. It's a visual thing. Just have him sitting on the bench, coming in garbage time. He had a rebound in there. I think he had free throws. I think he had a couple points in there too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't everything after the starters came out of the game a little blurry to me, but Dallas is just a horrible matchup for Dallas. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. The only thing, and I'll nitpick here because that's essentially all we can really do at this point. They only had 24 assists tonight. I'd like to see that get back up to the 30. So outside of that, the few kind of boneheaded turnovers early.
They gotta make their free throws.
And make free throws. Nice. I mean, that this is starting to get a little ridiculous. Probably missed 3 or 4 tonight. That's
terrible.
The turnover differential between the Warriors and the Mavs was they had 13, we had 15. So yeah, we were bad, but Mavs were almost as bad as us turning over the ball. So
take the last 4 or 5 of those in garbage time. So
true.
Relatively speaking, we actually won that battle. But Dallas again streaky. And not enough size to contend. Boston would be the one scare, and not to discount Miami because Miami is a very, very good team with Jimmy Butler. But I think we have the defense to be able to contain them. I really do.
Yeah, Boston lost, but just going into that whole finals and just watching Boston throughout these playoffs and past playoffs, I always just saw them as this super scrappy defensive team that I don't know. I kind of feel like they gave us some problems, and if we face them, we face them. It's all good.
Yeah.
They're very well coached. They're very well disciplined.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's a huge shooting
difference. There is a very good point. All Dallas had was essentially there was one stat early, in the first half where I think Dallas, where they took 19 3-point attempts in the first quarter, which was, I think, one behind the all-time record. I think they only had like 4 2-point attempts in that entire first quarter. They're settling. The Warriors, where they were shooting a lot of threes early, I think they were 2 of 8 at one point. They shot less threes than Dallas. Now, Dallas is the most three-point shoot, take the most attempts of any team from the three-point line, but all they did was settle because they knew the Warriors had the size with with Looney, with Draymond, maybe Wiggins in there. I mean, you saw a couple very, very impressive blocks in there as well. I think Clay had one in there earlier. That was just very, very impressive.
I like that Draymond and Curry one they did together. That one block.
And Curry was lucky he didn't foul him. Curry didn't have to jump, but lucky they took care of that. But 7 players in double figures. You're just distributing the ball, and what Kelts just said, they didn't settle. They worked it down, and they knew that they had. I mean, it's just a matchup nightmare. I mean, I keep reiterating it, but Dallas. That's why I posed the question earlier. If you're Jason Kidd, what do you do? Move away from the zone and hope that the players can shoot better.
Love the Truth 05 in chat. Shout out to him again. Says Curry is going to go to the rack a lot more often than usual because the Dallas Mavericks had no shot blocker. Well, they got Bobanovic sitting on the bench. I don't know if he's a shot blocker. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Took care of that tonight too. Poole had a couple.
I love the fact. I love it when Curry takes it to the hoop and drives around people and gets those nice little layups. And it makes me. It just when Curry's doing when he's using that part of his game, I just feel good about the Warriors game that I'm watching. And in most cases, we win when he does that.
Pretty much. I like when they all attack, to be honest. Not settling for the 3 all the time.
Anybody has any questions in the chat, feel free to shoot away. I mean, we've kind of covered a lot of the areas of this past game. There's not really a whole
much because they blew
it was such a blowout,
There's not much to.
Still not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but actually, they look pretty good. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So Corey, I actually asked Bashar this earlier. What'd you think of Steve Kerr being back?
Oh, I think it's a huge asset. I think Mike Brown is that type of coach, and good luck Sacramento with this. And I mentioned this on various spaces, mine included. Mike Brown is horrible at adjusting. I mean, it's just one of those things. He just kind of sits there and hopes that the team can figure it out themselves. That's not a coach. Coach has to be there, having his players' backs and being able to guide them when needed to be able to make sure it doesn't happen. I mean, they were getting blown out there in Game 5 in that last series. He had no answer. So yeah, I think it was a huge asset him coming back. Mike Brown can just kind of stay there on the defense and just come back to his role. But as I said, I would just like this series to be over as quickly as possible just to get the extra rest. Hopefully not have to travel very far. Hopefully just go to Dallas the one time, game 3 and 4. If Dallas ends up getting one of those, come back game 5 and clinch it on home turf out here in San Francisco, and then just sit for 4 or 5 days and just get
ice
Payton back, Heel, Porter, and any other things. I thought he looked pretty good first game back, but just rest and it's a grind. And that last series took a lot out of him, just with the physicality, with all the craziness, with the flagrants and everything else. Early is better, I think, in this. But yeah, Kerr, I think was a huge. I think Kerr was a huge asset.
Yeah. So Love the Truth 05 said, who do y'all got in the East, and how many games do you think the series will go to? And for the record, I didn't get to watch the game yesterday. I was actually on a live stream with somebody else, these other guys on the Locker Room Rant, and shout out to those guys. They're awesome. But while the game was going, I saw the final score. But if you guys have anything to add about the Miami-Boston series, for me on paper, I love what I see from Boston in terms of a basketball analyst point of view. I think they're a really good team. They're hard to beat, but hey, they lost the first game. I didn't see what Miami did to them. So if you guys can elaborate that, go ahead. If you can answer this question. You didn't watch either. How about you, Corey? Did you check it out?
I'm the only one who actually watches basketball that doesn't contain the Warriors here. I mean, what's going on?
I usually
Depends.
watch it, but I was busy last night.
Depends if I'm busy or not.
Boston looked very good up front, but again, Spoelstra. I was not very high on Spoelstra for a long time. It took me a long time to kind of see what all the hype was. The problem with yesterday is they had two major players out in Al Horford and Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year this year, would have been Draymond with another 15 or 20 games played going away. They just didn't have enough to hold off the blitzkrieg of Jimmy Butler and the Heat. I mean, Jimmy Butler just went bananas. I think he hit 46 or 47 or whatever it was. So this series should, on paper, go 7. Should. But I think it's going to come down to the injuries. Kyle Lowry also didn't play for Miami. But Jimmy Butler is a tough cookie to crack, and I think that's where Dallas's fans were kind of holding on to something, saying, well, we have Luka. We should be able to stay in these games. Not if you have Wiggins shutting them down, you don't. And I think of Wiggins, maybe put Clay on there, double team. You have Draymond, obviously. You just don't want Draymond getting into foul trouble.
Yeah.
I not just the foul trouble, but I saw it in this game, and I was going to bitch and moan about it. But I bit my tongue. It was the only thing about this game that worried me. It was the only time I had any worry in this game. And it's been like that throughout the whole playoff run. And throughout this year, it's just like, Draymond, just shut the fuck up with the refs, man. Just like, calm down, dude. Like every time, and I get it. There was one time where Luka had the ball and Luka tried to do something and rough up Draymond for a second and then do a little layup. And Draymond did not foul him on that play. I get that. But in general, Draymond's always jumping up and down and screaming.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, we do not need to see you get suspended. I don't want to keep having my PTSD from the damn finals against the Cavs and LeBron where Draymond got suspended and we lost. So just calm down. And Jordan Poole had one part where he was jumping up and down and they gave him a technical on some plays. So just relax with the refs, guys, please.
Especially if you're winning. Like, just chill out.
Exactly.
I saw Draymond not do that as much in this game as I have in the past. And in fact, I think Luka's always putting his hands up, hey, what's going on? The block, I think, was it Clay who had it, where the guy got the technical for jawing because he thought there's no possible way that could have been a foul. It was all ball by Clay. It was right there in the left corner. It was beautiful. I thought Dre actually contained himself better than usual tonight in comparison to games past. They're just balling right now. And again, I mentioned this to you earlier, Bashar. Keep the turnovers down as you can and just drive the hole. I mean, just for threes. This series should come out in our favor. I'm just curious on Friday to see what adjustments Jason Kidd makes, because I don't see him having enough to play with. I know Tim Hardaway went out earlier this year, and I think there was another player in there. But I think the fouls were a little sloppy tonight. But I just like better shot selection, especially from the perimeter. They did miss some wide open shots, but they got lucky because, as I mentioned, with
Role players.
With the role players of Dallas, they just had a really bad night. Can't expect that going forward. But you saw tonight that lockdown defense. I mean, the defense literally just locking them down, saying nothing is going to come easy for you scoring and everything else. You're going to get the foul, the and ones, all that stuff. But I don't see how Dallas can answer this going forward to win 4 of the next 6. Unless there's a catastrophic injury in here with Wiggins or one of the big players and something like that. I mean, I see that as Dallas's only real chance of getting through this.
And the Warriors' next game would be this Friday, actually, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m.
Every other day.
So hopefully we win again and get a 2-0 lead on the Mavericks before we go to Dallas. Know the Truth 05 says Jimmy Butler is a dog OG veteran that gets to the line. Yeah. Early in the game when I saw Wiggins get to the line, I was feeling good because I was just like, cool. By the time we started getting to the line before the other team,
exactly,
just throwing that out there,
Stop shooting the three.
Yeah, no. Wait, I mean, they brought up. I was listening to some podcasts, and they were just bringing up how many missed shots and how many wild 3-pointers that Curry's been missing. And they said, "Oh, well, Curry hasn't had that game where he's dominated or came alive in the playoffs. He'll come alive in key moments in the fourth quarter, but he hasn't had that one dominant Steph Curry game that we've known." But we definitely, it'd be nice to see that. And today he looked pretty damn good. Not necessarily dominant, but you could definitely tell he's one of the better players out there. And just not this. I know we can make amazing 3-pointers. I get it, but just mix it up. We mixed it up today, and I loved it. So, and it resulted in a great result. So,
What are you gonna say, Corey?
I was just going to say they took a while to find that 3-point mark too. I think it's 125 consecutive playoff games now for Steph Curry with a 3, on top of his 180 some odd current streak during the regular season with a consecutive games with a 3. I mean, he's shattering every record known to man.
In regards to 3-pointers, he has the most 3-pointers in playoff history too. He's like
playoff history,
LeBron
that won't stop.
history. You can throw every record book out because
Clay will be right behind him.
I don't know if I would say right behind him. I think people are. Forgetting he's very streaky too. When Clay is on, he doesn't miss. I always bring up that 37-point quarter, but it's just one of those things that you just and he's pretty much a spot shooter. You can see him take a dribble or two and shoot, but what makes Steph so deadly and has made him so deadly for years, he can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot with a catch and shoot. He can move without the ball better than any guard I've ever seen in my life. And it's nearly impossible to guard him. You double team, you trap him. That's where he can get into a little bit of trouble. But I think Klay Thompson will go down in history as maybe the second greatest of all time. But he has a long way to go to be able to catch the Reggie Millers and the Ray Allens of the world.
Yeah, it's funny when you see Curry out there. It's almost like, they mentioned, I remember that play where Steph Curry would he's so fast. When people disregard how fast Steph Curry is, they just think of him. They almost make it sound like he's just a slow guy that sits at the 3-point line. He has great, incredible handles, great speed without the ball. He runs around there. It's almost like he's running routes as a wide receiver, like he's a Jerry Rice, that runs like great and amazing routes and always finds a way to get open. Love that part about Steph Curry's game, and I noticed it translates to other players that he plays with. And then that's a key reason why this team is so unselfish, why they always find great ways to move the ball around. They always find great ways to find the open guy. Another kind of like finding the open receiver in football, but another football reference. But just as long as we don't sit there and shoot a million 3-pointers that are 4 shots or turn the ball over a million times, other than those 2 hangups that I have. I wouldn't surprise me at all if this team hosts up another Larry O'Brien. Cross my fingers. So we'll see, dude.
That's what we all hope so.
What's Brandon saying?
Brandon. Let me see.
I want to comment on that last comment when you're done with
this. Watch the media say Luka doesn't have help. Yeah. There was a point in time where Luka, I don't know, he was grabbing himself or something, or I don't know if he hurt himself during the game.
Scratched, actually.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Gary, I don't want Luka to get injured because the last thing I want to hear is the Warriors beat, another. They won another series with an injured player. That's the last thing.
They didn't play Phoenix. They didn't play this team.
Well, Phoenix. What did Phoenix do against Dallas? Well, Cyrus from Lockdown Warriors podcast. Shout out to Cyrus. Really good dude, awesome guy. He was basically saying going into before the Mavericks playoffs series started and after, and he's just been saying all along like the not Mavericks, but the Grizzlies playoff series was going to be the toughest test for the Warriors. That's what he was pretty much saying. They said that the biggest, longest, most athletic team the Warriors are probably going to face. And but the only other team I see out there that could give them similar fits, honestly, is the Celtics. I've been saying that a long time. Low the truth, though, 5. I think that was a comment that you wanted to read, right?
Another comment. We're asking about why Brunson doesn't run the show because I don't think Luka knows how to play off the ball. Luka has to have the ball in his hands, running the show like a James Harden, like a Russell Westbrook, like LeBron James in a lot of ways. I have not seen, and again, he's 23 years old. He's still, in the beginning of his prime. He's a fantastic offensive player. But when was the last time you saw Luka come off the dribble and hit a clutch shot or something like that? He has to have the ball in his hand. You're using Brunson, so you have Brunson as a point guard, but it's really a Luka who is controlling the offense as like a 3. And so that to me is the way I would answer that question. Steph can, and that's what I love about Steph is he can bring the ball up and he can do all the things that a point guard normally does, but he is 10 times deadlier coming off the dribble and coming off screens and off pick and pops and all that other stuff. It's almost impossible to be able to fully contain Steph Curry unless he's just having an off night shooting and just, and it happens. But Luka was contained very well, and I think Andrew Wiggins had a huge part of that today as well.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. So, do you got any? I think we'll probably wrap it up. Do you guys have any final comments about next game? Probably.
Next game, I just hopefully they keep the same intensity and do a lot of the same. But who knows? I just don't see, like you were asking, what's kids gonna do differently. I don't see them throwing anything like differently or that's gonna be that drastic as a huge wrench in our plans. Unless Dinwiddie obviously hurt us at one point in the regular season, but there's nobody else on that team that really scares me other than obviously Luka Doncic. I mean, and then Dinwiddie. Who else? I mean, so we'll see. He said, this guy says exactly, I feel you, brother. But when Luka was out in the first round, Brunson ran the show for Dallas, averaging 24 points a game. Okay.
True.
That's because they didn't have any other option. What are you telling me? You want Luka on the bench and you want Brunson to run the show? What are we trying to compare? When Luka's on the court, it's isolation practically every single time, and then trying to pick and pop and trying to do all these other moves to try to get his guys open. But I have not seen a point, and I could be wrong here, but I have not seen a part where you have a guy like Brunson bringing it up and trying to run the offense and having Luka trying to play off the dribble or coming off pick and pop or something like that. Luka's only about a 32% three-point shooter anyway in his career. He's somewhere in those low 30s. I can't remember the exact numbers. I think I looked it up early.
I feel you.
Second, early end of the first quarter, early second quarter. He's not a great outside shooter, but what makes him deadly is like a Westbrook, is that he can drive and he gets a lot of fouls. Something I still can't quite understand why Curry doesn't get a lot of these calls. Well, he doesn't go to the hole enough. He had the highest field goal percentage in the paint a handful of years ago. He goes to the paint enough. It's just he just still doesn't get that superstar.
He just love hating on the Warriors. They're just assholes.
It's just crazy. But anyway, Luka just doesn't play off the dribble like
Steph or
anybody else.
Before we wrap this up, there's one more comment we're going to read. It's Brandon Ferrigno says, who obviously is the host of the show with Jordan, taking the night off. Jordan's here. He's here in spirit. He's in the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Brandon says, you hear the analysts keep saying Dallas lost game 1 and the 2 last series and won the series, trying to say that they're going to win this one. So annoying. And then one other stupid thing that was annoying, it was like the halfway point in the fourth quarter, and I don't know if it was Reggie Miller, but one of those announcers said something stupid like, "Oh well, Dallas can possibly increase the lead now. What they need to do is figure out how they can score points and how they can beat these Warriors. Whatever lineups will work right now in this fourth quarter, and use it for the next game." Like they said, the dumb.
I can guarantee you that was Stan Van Gundy.
Yeah,
it might have been. Yeah, okay, it was Van Gundy. I thought it might have been Reggie Miller. Yeah, but I guess we pretty much covered everything,
Yeah, we did. So thank you, Bashar. Thank you, Corey. You guys would like to plug yourselves?
This is simulcast on @49erminded. You can add @49erminded on Twitter, Instagram, 49erminded, 49erminded Facebook page. I mainly do Niner stuff, but love my Warriors. So every now and then we do a little collabs with Locked In Warriors, Locked In Golden State podcast.
They're all
you guys. Yeah, I know you guys are confusing me. Go ahead, Corey.
You go ahead, Corey.
You can find me on Twitter @sport_fanatic10. Any type of sports that you have a question of, I followed pretty much just about everything from baseball to basketball to football to hockey to golf to motocross to Formula One. Anything you have, any questions that you may have, certainly DM me and let me know if there's anything I can help you with.
All right, nice. Yeah, so my co-host Brandon, you say we'll be on the next show for game 2. Thank goodness. But so follow our podcast, Locked In Golden State Warriors podcast. We're on Twitter and Instagram, and there's a link right there. We are also on YouTube, so follow us, subscribe, please. Trying trying to up this YouTube channel. We're also on Twitch, so go over and please follow us. Other than that, again, thank you, Corey. Thank you, Bashar, for being here. Brandon will be with us next time on the next game for sure. And all I have to say is, go Warriors. Let's
Go
try
Warriors.
sweep.
Let's sweep him. No, not gentleman sweep. Let's get a real sweep.
Let's get a real sweep. Exactly.
Eat that trick too.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Hold on.